something I know won't desert me. I ain't gonna be alone anymore. For once I can say this is mine and you can't take it as long as I got your love.
And the UFO phenomenon is real, although it's been covered up by governments for quite a long time. It is a real phenomenon.
What's up? This is His Lordship in the building. Welcome one, welcome all. We'll give you a chance to show up and show out.
It is a real phenomenon. It is a real phenomenon.
You convinced her that we're not alone in the universe?
Oh, I know for sure we're not alone.
This is His Lordship. This is the Truth Marathon Part 10. Part 9 is listed as unlisted. The Truth Marathon Part 9 was X-rated for adults only, and so I had to mark it unlisted. But it's out there in the universe if you look for it.
We're not alone in the universe at all.
You convinced her that we're not alone in the universe?
Oh, I know for sure we're not alone. And I happen to be privileged enough to be in on the fact that we have been visited on this planet. And the UFO phenomenon is real, although it's been covered up by governments for quite a long time. It is a real phenomenon. It is a real phenomenon.
Yeah, I kind of scrapped the other show. I kind of scrapped it because it was just too much. The visual quality, the 5-second delay, I just couldn't hang with it. And so this show is it's gonna be a little better. But the other one, I didn't want to really delete it, So I just put it on unlisted. So anybody that saw the last show can still have access to it.
It is a real phenomenon.
Oh, right on, bro. I don't know what to expect because there's a couple of people that's live that also watch. The people that watch them kind of watch my show. But you know what I'm saying? Like you said, I don't care if there's 1 or 25, as long as people are here to keep it, you know what I'm saying, keep it 100 and have a good time. You know, I bank on the playback. I always speak as if I'm talking to people for the playback anyway. It's all gravy. But bon appetit, you know what I'm saying? In your time zone, it's probably dinner time. Yeah, I'm trying to juggle two things at once. You know how I go, trying to work the computer and talk at the same time. Dead air is bad. Let's see. Yeah, man. You know what? Say what you want about Samuel. You know what I'm saying? He was fly. And guess what? Somebody made a comment and made me aware that that's Otavis dancing with him. Otavis was his wife, Otavis Davis. So one of those dancers is his wife. The lighter skinned girl, I think to his right, was Otavis. And Otavis was a class act. I don't know if she was an Alvin Ailey dancer or what, but she do give tours of Harlem. I mean, she give tours of the whole Harlem scene. So she might have been an Alvin Ailey dancer back in the day, along with Miles Davis' wife. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I saw an interview with her and Frank Sinatra's wife being interviewed by a talk show host, and this class all the way. So So we seen an example of class. That was a classy intro with Sammy and the two ladies. So let's see an example of no class. All right. Let's look at that example.
You convinced her that we're not alone in the universe?
Oh, I'm so sure we're not.
You know, one good turn deserves another. What's up, global family? I have to move my head back and forth because my phone is charging and I'm looking at the chat from my phone, but it's to my far left. So here's a perfect example of no class right here. You know, maybe we could put the two side by side.
Question at all. What's it like throughout the universe?
There we go. That's much better right there.
Oh, I know for sure we're not alone. And I have
It is all good. I do design intros for people. I've done intros for I can't I can't mention who they are, but there are several YouTubers in the black sector I've done intros for, and it's all good. Now you can contact me on His Lordship on IG. I set that up so now I can maintain my troll identity and still do business with you, and it's all good. Sometimes I give the first intro out at no cost. But you know, right now it's coming close to Christmas, and I'm very, 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 very reasonable. I also do webinars on how you can do shows like mine. If you want to know how to use OBS Studio and give a show like mine, I can help you with that. And for people who have surround sound systems and 5.1, 7.1, people who watch my show with projectors and smart TVs, this should be a pretty good sound quality and visual quality for that also. See, that's the trick. You have to take in consideration the medium that everyone is watching your show on. Some people are using, of course, phones. Everybody can't afford a fly phone, so you got to make sure it looks good on unfly phones. You know, it's easy to make it look good on top-notch stuff. So your main concern is to make it look and sound good on stuff that's average or less, because the average American don't have the top-notch stuff. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not. Yeah, he was. You're right. He had a flashback indeed. Let's get Sammy back in there. What's up, Blue Rains? I'm gonna get whiplash. I need to break out another device so I don't have to keep turning my head. You know, when I do live shows from home, I use 2 screens, a phone and a tablet.
It is a real phenomenon.
Believe it or not, it's just like NBC in my house, the Negro Broadcasting System.
Question at all. But there's life throughout the universe. We're not alone in the universe at all.
You convinced her that we're not alone in the universe?
Oh, I'm
Uh-oh.
sure we're not. And I have been privileged enough to have be in on the fact that we have been visited on this planet. And the UFO phenomenon is real, although it's been covered up by our governments for quite a long time. It is a real phenomenon.
And you know, when you got a good microphone, it picks up everything. You'd be surprised, you know, smacking your lips, rubbing your nose. Don't wear no leather jacket. Don't sit on a plastic bed, a bed with plastic on it. You know what I'm saying? Don't wear no nylon windbreaker either. It just picks up everything.
It is a real phenomenon. And
Yeah, it picks up everything. You got to be aware of that. That's how people dox themselves. I'm not beyond doxing myself. It's going to happen. Matter of fact, it has happened many times, but I was proactive and Okay, now I got a secondary device on. Oh, you know what? I turned on the other device and it affected the Wi-Fi that quick. So let that be a lesson. Try to have not too many things on Wi-Fi when you're running your show from Wi-Fi. What's up? Cheryl Oshun in the building. Blue Rays, Global Family, and of course, Grown Folks TV. But yeah, I was made aware that somebody in the comments gave a shout out to Otavis, and I didn't know what her last name was, so I did a little quick search because I didn't want to seem ignorant, right? And I'm like, Otavis, who the hell? And then of course, if I'm supposed to be a Sammy fan, I'm more of a Miles Davis fan, but I know more about Miles Davis than Sammy Davis Jr. And my great uncle was Count Basie, and I don't know zip about him, but he did inspire me to do music. He did inspire my uncles and me and everybody to do music. But yeah, Otavis is his wife, and she's amazing. I had to watch a bunch of interviews and some of her stuff, and even today, what she's doing today. I'm sure she's still alive because I seen a video of her doing a tour in Harlem, or like a walking tour. So, yeah. And if she did pass away, may she rest in peace. And it must have been not too long ago. Okay. Yeah, I know Nina Simone's story very well. Who else? Some of these international blacks, like I know Nina Simone's story. What's the other lady with the banana skirt? Josephine Baker. And Miles Davis and Eartha Kitt. Yeah. But yeah, you have to be aware. I use a condenser mic. It's very reasonably priced. It can screw onto a microphone stand, or it can sit on the table. It has its own fold down legs. It's almost like a rocket, and they do call it they should have called it the rocket, but they called it, I guess that name was used, so they call it a meteor. It's by the company Samsung, and this is not an endorsement or a commercial, but I have all kinds of mics. But when I'm home, I have the big studio mic, where you're doing vocals for an R&B song or something. But when I'm away from the home base, I have this mic, and this mic can hook to your PC, phone, or tablet, and it's called the Samsung Meteor. Yeah. Oh yeah, I love them all too. And you know what's crazy? On vinyl, I have several sisters singing "Save a Little Prayer for Me." I couldn't believe that I had on vinyl Dionne Warwick, Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, and another person singing "Save a Little Prayer for Me." I probably have Natalie Cole singing it too. But I like the way Dionne Warwick sings it, But like I said, this mic, if you got the sniffles, if you got dry, your lips are dry, whatever, that this mic's picked all that shit up. So make sure you have your shit together before you go live. Just saying.
It is a real phenomenon, and question at all. But there's life through throughout the universe. We're not alone in the universe at all.
You convinced that we're not alone in the universe?
Oh, I know for sure we're not alone in the universe. And I happen to be privileged enough to have be in on the fact that we have been visited.
So also, for anybody who missed the last show, part 9, it's out there in the wind, but it's marked unlisted because the sound quality wasn't there. You know, it was just that the sound quality wasn't there. The visual quality, the sound quality just wasn't there. Man, my pops have thousands of albums. He started collecting at 16 years old, had a record player before kindergarten, and he would let me pick out one album per day. Well, check this out. This what upsets me, and this has nothing to do with you, but blacks, I'm sure you may know this. See, I'm not going to be condescending or assuming, but blacks never stopped making records. You know what I'm saying? The black records I started buying in the early 90s cost me $25 to $40 a pop. Even the black CDs I was buying was costing $25 a pop because they were imports. Hey, Grandma, welcome. Now, me, myself, personally, since 2001, I made over 14 vinyls, and one of them was a 7-inch. I done lost count on how many vinyls I made. I mean, I still made digital releases and I still made CD albums, but I've made I made a vinyl March 28th last year. And I think, and that one took 6 years to make for some reason. I don't know why. But there is a waiting list on pressing vinyls. If you're going to release a vinyl, you need to plan 2 years in advance. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, a matter of fact, in Detroit, they sell a lot of vinyl of, like modern labels, labels of today, independent music of today. They sell vinyls once a year. Well, they sell vinyls year round, but 3 days out the year, they sell the most vinyls in their city. And some of the labels in Detroit require you to come to the city to get the vinyl. They will not ship to you. Oh, that's good. He still collect vinyl. Then he probably knows a lot of about black independent music around the world, because I have collaborated with people from Japan to Austria, from Germany to the UK to, and just like Asians, blacks are everywhere too. If I name a European country, it doesn't mean that I'm on the jockstrap of the European. European countries have minorities also. There's minorities within minorities. When I'm in Germany, I'm kicking it with the Turks and the half Germans and the half Koreans. And, there's people half German, half Korean, half black, half German. And, let's not forget that ever since World War II, the world understood blacks and blacks music. And I'll give you some examples. And I don't want to go off on a tangent, but you touched a soft spot. Oh, well, see, now that makes sense, Cheryl. Oh, that makes sense. And I remember I had a Janet Jackson in Vogue in vinyl in high school. Well, the commercial music was very accessible and very easy to obtain. And when the man said that vinyl was no longer popular or any good, now you could get a vinyl for a couple of dollars of commercial music. But the independent music still was $7 and up. And if it was an import, it was going to cost you $25 and up. And when I first did my first album with a label in Germany, in West Germany, one of the investors had a store called Vinyl Only. Yeah, and when I walked in that store, they had everything, from the past and present. They had everything. But you would be surprised about all the records that come out of Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, Texas, and California that are black independent records. Hey, what's up, Ayana Saji? You would be surprised. Most black independent labels have to sell their stuff abroad, but that's a whole nother story. But my point that I want to make, because I want to move on, is that the soldiers from World War II, when they were based out there, and they would play music in the local clubs and everything. They would play jazz in the clubs. Like let's take there's a city in Germany named after Bear. There we go. Bear, Germany, is where Bear Aspirin is from, and that was a big jazz town. Any industrial town where in Germany, it seems like if the town wasn't rebuilt by the church, the town was rebuilt by an industry or a corporation. So in Bear, Germany, where people had money, that was a big jazz town. And what I want to say is, people in other countries got to know how we roll, regardless of the propaganda, because we had musicians there playing music. So if you're black or whatever, and you come up with some music, even if you invent your own music, you can still go to these places and say, hey, I'm from America, and this I came up with some new shit. Check it out, and these are the people that I admire and I felt that I learned from. You know what I'm saying? So let me see what you said. We had a store here called Vinyl Fever. It was my spot. Where you at? Cause see, if you're in Minnesota, Chicago, Michigan, maybe Memphis, Texas, there's a lot of independent vinyl recordings that come out of there. You're in Tallahassee, close enough. You know what I'm saying? What's up, L'Oreal, and Kendra, and Key Will? I don't want to. I just want to make a note on why we kind of are liked abroad, because I am an international independent artist, and it was never a get rich quick hustle. Even though I would love to have gotten filthy rich, but it was never that type of thing. It was just, I'm an artist. I will always be an artist, and I go where I can do me without changing me. So people do want to people always want to throw in stuff that they know about the commercial world, and that's a whole nother medium. See, there's no excuses for the commercial world. They have experts in every field. Every artist have 30 people responsible for them, and they have a budget, just like Wonder Bread or Kraft macaroni and cheese. A commercial artist is no different than stovetop stuffing or shake and bake. If they fail, it's because they wanted them to fail, or they didn't hit the mark in time for whatever trend that was going on. Independent music is a whole nother medium. The people I roll with and know in the independent world, their recordings sound just as good as the majors. You see what I'm saying? But the point I wanted to make is, where you from? I'm from Detroit. So Detroit is where not only soul music came from, or whatever, the Motown sound. Let's say that. I ain't gonna say soul music came from. I'm gonna say the Motown sound, right? But there's a thing called Detroit rock. Also, punk rock came from Detroit. There was a black group called Death. There was a black group called Death that invented punk rock in Detroit. And then we have the worldwide famous, ever so loved outside of Detroit techno. All right. And before there was Soul Train, there was a show called The New Dance Show in Detroit. They come on every day live, sometimes twice a day. And it was full of black folks dancing to techno. And now, after all these years, Detroit techno is a big thing. They have an exhibit in the Detroit Museum. And the godfathers of techno, they make anywhere from $60,000 to $1 million a year playing their music that they started when they were teenagers. And all of them are still alive and still quite popular. And they never been in Vibe magazine or Source or any of that stuff. Because if you're making money, you don't want everybody to know. You know, you don't want Big Brother and Uncle Sam all breathing down your neck. So usually when you're not making money, that's when you do all these interviews and videos and stuff, because you're trying to add more awareness to yourself. So I like to make points, prove points. I try not to talk out the side of my neck. And like I said, the independent artists that I've collaborated with and know their music sounds on the same level as major recording artists. My music may not play on local radio stations or commercial stations, but around the world you will hear it on the web streaming stations, the internet type of stations and stuff like that. Even the commercial internet, like Spotify and all that, Pandora. I consider that the commercial web radio. You would hear one of my songs on that. And one time I was lucky enough to get airplay on BBC, which was cool. So I want to see if this will air. I want to give you an example. There's a group called, you'd be surprised all the black people that are in America that's known overseas that go back and forth. You would be surprised. What's up, Ferris? What's up, Average Joe Lamar? I mean, it will blow your mind. Let me see. Oh, yeah. All right. There's a group that's on the same label that I'm with out of East Germany, out of Berlin. I did collaborations with them for almost 20 years because I was with another label in West Germany and they were doing the albums. So I was just doing vocal appearances on the East German label. And then finally, to kind of bring the relationship to full circle, I did an album with them, but they had us do it over. They said it was too abstract. And see, that's the problem. I'm kind of done with labels now because they always want you to change songs and stuff like that. But just to give you an idea of the quality, the sound quality that came out of this label. These guys started this label in music school. They were going to a prestigious. It was an Australian guy and a Japanese guy in Berlin. They went to this music school and they got nominated for best internet record label while they were still in school. They got nominated for a Grammy, and this is the consistent sound quality that this label been putting out from since then till now. And now these guys are grown, they're in the industry, they work in the professional realm, but they still maintain the label. So now I'm not going to reveal much about this, but of course, the computer is going to catch it and put the information in the information box. I am one of the artists on this label, so if you go to their website, you will see a bunch of artists. One of them is me. I'm not going to... It's easy to find me, though. I don't really try to hide myself. But I'm going to play one of their songs called Stronger Than a Mountain. This group is called Positive Flow Lines. And there's a remix album, and this album is a few years old, but I mean, this group remind me of Incognito, all kind of, top people I like. But I don't know if you know Incognito, but it reminds me of Zap Mama, Erykah Badu, Incognito, Loose Ends, Soul to Soul. But this song is from our time. This album is probably only 3 or 4 years old. Okay, I'm just gonna play one song. See if you can hear it.
Times will come and times will go, but some things never change and some things never alter. Like the writing on the page, I rely on something older. I rely on something strong, strong as the sun. And I may come and I may go, but some things never age and some things never falter. And when playing on life's main stage, I gotta keep from going under, gotta keep it going on. I've got to be stronger than the wind, stronger than the mountain, brighter than the sun, bigger than the land we live in, higher than the sky, deeper than the oceans, faster than my life. Seasons come, seasons go, and the wheel just keeps on turning.
Right on. I'm gonna play one more person. He's out of Chicago, and this is before he had his name is Reggie B. Maybe you heard of him, but after this album, he had a fire in his house that destroyed his stuff, but he was still able to bounce back. And Reggie B reminds me of everybody from, he reminds me of Ready for the World. He reminds me of Prince. He reminds me of Music Soul Child. Just a little bit of everybody. And he's on this label out of Berlin, also the same label that I'm associated with. The hard part is, first impressions is everything. So the hard thing is picking the right song, to represent this person. He even got a song called Every Pharaoh Needs a Queen. I thought that was dope. So I don't know what to pick. I don't know what to pick. Okay. I mean, Every Pharaoh Needs a Queen sound like a dope title. There's one song called Hypnotize. It's one song called Poison Candy. All right. Got to make a decision. Right on. Right on, grown folks. Brown Paper Bag is dope. Okay, I'm going to play Every Pharaoh Needs a Queen. I don't remember this one, but whenever I do mixes, I use all this resource material for my mixes. I only mix with independent music and music that I've collected over the years. So here we go. Hopefully this one ain't too crazy. But he's still an artist. He's still from Chicago. He still do shows. So that's Reggie B from Chicago. And the only reason I don't play this music or my own music because there'll be a copyright thing. I can't even play my own music because there would be a copyright thing. But what I'll do is, so you won't think I'm talking out of the side of my neck, and to prove that I'm hopefully I'm on par with the same stuff that I've been talking and letting you hear, I will play one of my tracks too. And I made this track with a lady named Alicia Renee from Flint, Michigan. She lives in Chicago. She's probably in New Orleans right now. She used to work with Quincy Jones and all kind of people. They used to pay her $30,000 a year or $8,000 a day to sing in the Montreux Jazz Fest. And since they paid her so much, she would just stay there until the next year, until the next festival. I don't know why she never made an album, but she's on the same label too. They never really put an album out with her. She was on Shaquille O'Neal's You Can't Stop the Rain album. She Just Be Good to Me and another song. And I also worked with her too. We flew her out here, put her up in a house for a week. And one day I'll tell you the real story behind that. But this song right here, I still haven't met her. She had to send her vocals from Chicago. I didn't like how they were recorded because she tried to act like she went to a big studio and recorded her vocals and wanted some reimbursement. And I said, this sound like it was recorded with GarageBand. I can hear you turning the pages of the sheet music. This is terrible. I said, I need these vocals in mono without effects. I mean, you didn't go to no professional for this. And so I had to work with them anyway. And I said, well, maybe we shouldn't work together. Maybe we should do this another time. And then she switched up on me. But she said, well, how am I supposed to record or do something with you and I can't go in the studio unless who's going to pay for it? And I said to myself, you've been doing music all this time and you still can't record yourself with your own equipment? You know, so anyway, but she's a beautiful person, split personality, at least 5, and I love her to death. Her name is Alicia Renee, and she, like I said, she worked with Shaq, Kill, O'Neal, and a bunch of people. And I'm going to read the chat in a second. So I'm looking for the song. Oh, okay. Here's the song. I produced this song for our last album about 5 years ago, and it was a 22-song album. And this song is called "It's Alright." Now, I want you to know that I produced this song without even meeting her or seeing her. I sent her the instrumental, and she sent me her vocals, and then I put the song together. I gave her a stripped down version of the track. And I was trying to have that Grandmaster Flash type of drum beat. So I had designed these drum sounds that sound like the Message drum beat from Grandmaster Flash. So I was trying to do it without having to sample off the record. So I tried to sound design the actual drum sounds from the record. So anyway, without this any more introduction, and I'm going to end it with the music part, this is a track that I personally actually produced. All right. Wow. I'm going to speak on that. Thanks, Cheryl. And grown folks, right on, man. Supporting these independent artists is great. What's up, Fundi? Welcome. And it's always a pleasure having you here. Now, there's another thing I want to prove. I plead the fifth, rise and shine. Now, there's people that say that you can't make soulful music with machines and computers, but you can, you know. My father sung on my last 3 albums, and we have a slow song that sounds like a Motown song, and it's just one guy on the computer with his guitar, and it's a love jam. And as a matter of fact, the song has so much swing on it. See, what you got to do is take the quantization off and make a song without quantization. It has a more human feel. But we couldn't find nobody to sing on the song because they wasn't used to a swing on the song, because that's like kind of old school, I guess. And they used to a more robotic, perfect tempo. So I had to get an OG like Pops to sing on this song. And I directed him. My friend made the music because I have a co-producer, and I did the vocal mix. And you know, we work together as a team sometimes. So let me give you an example of that. Now, this is all computer, even though somebody did play the guitar. But thanks for supporting Reggie B, because after he made that album, he had a terrible fire in his house, and he did come out with another album later. And he really, I've never met him. 85% of the people I've worked with, I've never met them face to face. But this is my group. This is from the same album. This is my father singing, and this is all computerized, believe it or not.
There are so many things I forgot to say.
People today, thanks, Cheryl knows her music, and right on, grown folks. And thank you, Fundi, for the compliment. And Maribel, welcome in the building. Swing music today has lost the swing to it. You know what I'm saying? And this was my inspiration to get into music. My father, he used to sing around the house, and I said one day I'm going to record that guy. I'm going to record him on a professional level one day. You know, he taught me everything about audio because he used to sing in different rooms for the acoustic. He used to sing with a bucket on his head under the seat. He used to do overdubs. He would record jazz music off the radio and do a bunch of overdubs and improvisation. So, yeah. I'll stop talking for a second and let you hear this.
And if you call, I'll be there. Never fear. If you need me, I'll be there. If ever, whenever you need a friend. I was just hoping that you might be coming back. If it's true romance you need from me, give me a chance to touch you, love you, hold you so tight. Usually don't be, but for you I just might. You are my light. If this is romance, if this is romance, usually don't be, but for you I just might.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's Pops. You know, he decided to work in the automotive industry instead of pursuing the Motown thing. And, you know, he could have did it, but he noticed that the people who worked hard in automotive for GM and stuff, they were still getting about the same money that the Motown artist was getting. Hey, grown folks, how did you know? How did you know it was Blacktronics? Oh, you used your phone, huh? You put your you asked Siri what it was, huh? Now, if Siri know who I am, I'm really doxing myself now. You know it's legit if Siri know who I am, but it's all good. Well, Tokyo Don Records is an excellent record label. Tokyo Don, TokyoDonRecords.net. But I also worked with Fazadelic Records, which got me noticed in the UK. I had an album in 2008 that went as $32 a pop as an import, and finally got some respect out of the UK. I started in 1996, and I got a lot of advice from Marcel East. He was my manager for a couple of years. Marcel East from Foreplay. And his brother Nathan East inspired me so much, I went and bought a Yamaha bass guitar. Oh, it's all good. Hey man, right on, grown folks, and thanks for the the props, man. Cause this is my life. You know, it's either going to destroy me or make me. Like I have an obsession with music, and when I discovered this YouTube thing, I was like, I can do all kind of stuff. I can put it all together in one little thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, right on. Now I'm gonna let you know right now that Blacktronics is really we're crazy, just like Sun Ra and Parliament and all them. Labels made us do that smooth stuff. I like it. I respect it. I grew up with it. I played the saxophone since I was 6. But we're black to the future. We are out there, man. We have a song called "Computers Do It Better." It's about computers having sex. Computers do it better. Strawberry Cough. You know, another girl. A girl took that song and wanted us to rework it for her album, and she made a video and wrote to it. That's why I was surprised that this other lady, her hustle was always get someone to pay for you to go to the studio, but take the money and go to a friend and let them record you and act like you went to the studio. But when I play the audio in my studio, I can before I even play it, I can look at the audio file and know something's wrong. First of all, if the audio file is not 24-bit or higher, I already know something's wrong. If the audio that she gives me of her vocals are in stereo, I already know something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, thanks, grown folks, again. I appreciate that, supporting independent artists and things like that. And, you know, I only get mad when I deal with associates that should know better by now, because we walk the same path, and I know more today than I knew yesterday. And if I known you've been making music for years and you say, hey, can you do this remix for me? And you send me the material, and I go, man, the vocals it got reverb and stuff, and then the background vocals of the choir is all one recording. And then the vocals get louder as it gets to the end. I don't even got to play it. I can see that the vocals start out low because the song got less instruments. And as the background choir comes in and there's more instrumentation, the engineer raised the volume of the vocals. Well, you wouldn't have to raise the volume of the vocals if you had a proper mix. There's a such thing as it's called side chaining. Using a side chaining technique, there's frequency placement. People always worried about loud and soft. There's frequency placement. It has nothing to do with loud and soft. And because he gave me a stereo file with reverb on it, I had to use special software to remove the reverb and to make the file mono, so I can do what I want to it. And when I heard the arrangement and everything, I said, and he sent me an MP4A file too, and I said, dude, this music that you sent me was made on GarageBand. And he said, no, man, my people, they can afford to go to a real studio. Because this, I don't want to say too much because the world is small. And even though he don't watch my show, he might watch it one day. But he said, my people just got an award for best gospel vocalist of the state. And I said, oh, okay. And my people's manager / boyfriend, they can afford a real studio. And I said, okay, well, they went to a real studio, but they use GarageBand at that studio. I mean, when you're in the booth and stuff, you don't know what the engineer is using. The engineer could just have on a screensaver, and then you go in the booth and he turns the thing on. He might be embarrassed about what he uses. But because it was an MP4A or MP4, MPA, whatever shit, right? I knew that it was done with a Mac. I knew it was done with GarageBand. And yeah, dude could play the piano and everything, but he was playing 8 to 16 bar loops. I could just hear it all because, see, I started with hardware first. First I started with traditional music and sheet music for hella years. And then I went to machines, samplers, and hardware using MIDI. And then I went from hardware for 10 years and I went to software. So I already heard the shit and knew what it was. Thanks. Right on. You said you a bad dude, much respect. Play one more of that album. One more from my album. All right. All right, I did a tribute to the 1980s electro music movement. You know, back when Planet Rock and you know, all those groups like Nucleus and Dr. Dre and all them, World Class Wrecking Crew, Mantronics, you know, and all those groups. I did a tribute. It's called The Plot, circa 1983. So I'm gonna play that. That came from the same album.
Animation of a great expansion casting shadows over the sun.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. The plot. the game up and down the block. Liquor store, a church, it's a barber shop. Wait a minute, somebody got shot. Is this the plan or a part of the plot? I think not, I think we're the spot. I think we must die before we don't get the ride. To get my never close the shop. You know that ain't beast till we get the knock. So much time to just leave the fly. If I haven't said nothing, just let's stop. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Yeah, for those of you that didn't get any song titles or whatever, I'm sure once the algorithms go through, YouTube is going to list all the songs in the information box, and then I guess I will be doxing myself. You know what I'm saying? But it's all great. Yeah, I've seen Kraftwerk live twice, and the second time I saw Kraftwerk, it was in 3D, and they never did a show in America until they turned 50, and their first hit was in 1968. It was a song called The Autobahn. But the biggest influence on me was Cybertron out of Detroit, who invented Detroit techno, pretty much. Yeah, it's crazy. So I can basically do the same type of show as Kraftwerk, but with my own music. I have all the tools, the equipment, and the abilities. The only thing I don't do is the robot. We are the robots. I don't do that. But everything else Kraftwerk can do, I can do as a show also, as a Negro. Yeah. So people that was here earlier, they might have missed this. They might have missed that. They might have missed that. This is your boy getting down. So we bringing that back. So yeah, all the music you ever heard in the background since I started going live is my own stuff, unless unless I was playing Blowfly or something, you know what I'm saying? Oh, y'all couldn't even hear me. The album is wild. That's all I got to say. The album is very wild. There's some really wild songs on there. I only played the conservative stuff. I just got a call, so hold on for a minute.
I can say this is mine and you can't take it as long as I got your love. I know I'm gonna make it for once in my life. I got someone who needs me. If I won't let sorrow hurt me, not like it hurt me before. For once I have something I know won't desert me. I ain't gonna be alone anymore. For once I can say this is mine and you can't take it as long as I got your love. I know I'm gonna make it for once in my
All right, we are back. We are back. Yeah, he was killing it. You know, and I forgot that Sammy sung on the Beretta, the theme song for Beretta. You know, he killed that. You know what I'm saying? I totally forgot about that. So, yeah. When I go live at this time of the day, that means business is slow. That means business is slow. It's not a good thing. But I do have fun doing these lives, and I appreciate people showing up. You know what I'm saying? And oh, it's all good. You know, soul is timeless. If you listen to Ask Rufus album, oh yeah, you're right. Grown folks, they don't know about that. But if you listen to the Ask Rufus album of Shaka Khan, where they combine soul, funk and classical, just like the Mendez brothers, who was kind of like the first to put funk and classical together. People don't even know that there's an instrumental song on the Ask Rufus album, the same album that has Steppin' into Hollywood. That was the song that brought us to California. But there's an instrumental classical song on the Ask Rufus album. It's called Slow Screw Against the Wall. Slow Screw Against the Wall. I'm going to remix that. And you know, Shaka Khan, her name is amazing. It's half Shaka Zulu, half Genghis Khan. But the name Rufus, it wasn't nothing special about the name Rufus. It came from an auto magazine, like a mechanics magazine. Brenda, yes, thanks for asking. I've been doing music since 1996. So, and some of the best stuff came out between 2001 and now, and on vinyl and CD and digital and collaborations with people around the world. I worked with a guy in Austria named Perot Stellar, and that's the one where, you know, you got the million views and all that stuff, you know, MTV and all that stuff. And grown folks said he just bought it. So Brenda, if you buy it, don't tell nobody who I am, okay? But I must appreciate it. And see, what we do is we don't put. You know why I ain't tripping? Because we don't put our face on the albums. Now, grown folks, you saw the album cover. My face is not on it. Do you know what the picture is? Grown folks, do you know what that picture is? If you look in the picture, you're going to see black businesses in the picture. But guess what? It's not in America. That's a street in London where you see black businesses in the background in London. And there's buildings on fire because the black people was rioting in London because they just killed a program that was very similar to the Boys Club in London. And when they killed that program, the youth went wild. And that's the picture I used for that album cover. And that's why that album is called Ready, Set, Blow. And on that album, when we made that album, that's when the whole Occupy movement was going on. You know, Occupy Wall Street or Occupy whatever. So that was going on near my house. When they broke up the occupation by my house at 4 a.m, we heard the helicopters come in like the military. So me and Pops made a song called Occupy. And that's where the song Occupy on the album came from. Yeah. So yeah, that album took a couple of years because when we first brought it to the label, they said it's too many abstract songs we can't sell. Can you throw some more conservative songs on there? And that's where we came with Special Kind of Love. That song played on BBC Radio every Tuesday. BBC plays soul music, and we got one spin on there. And the Special Kind of Love has Alicia Renee on it, and it has a flamingo guitar solo. So my album shows that you can make urban music. There's 5 rap songs on there. One of my favorite songs is It Can Get Ugly. I know everybody can relate to that song. It Can Get Ugly is one of the rap songs on that album. There's 5 other rap songs. There's a rapper who came up from Atlanta that did 2 songs on there. And then there's some crazy electronic music on there. One song called Strawberry Cough. My buddy, he's black, but he's a programmer, and that song was made by 2 robots jamming with each other. And but anyway, you know, it just have a history. You know, it just has some things to the album that, you know, and you know, my studio got broken into, so some of those songs were only MP3s, and I was still able to remaster it so it can have a good sound quality for the release, you know. She can go live now? Okay. Wow, she's back, huh? I heard that. Well, I'm ready to go trolling. I don't know about you. You know, this is like me sitting in a, I'm like a rat in a cheese factory, and my hands are tied. So, yeah. Well, maybe her backup channel can go live again, but her main channel, if it gets one more strike, it's gone for good. And any other channel that she used the same email is gone. So if you're gonna have multiple channels, make sure that any channel you want to keep has a different email address, because when they take your main channel, any other channel associated to that email is gone also. So you got to be prepared. You got to be 10 steps ahead. All right. Well, I'm ready to I know, huh? Man, I should hit him with it, but trust me, all the songs I played earlier, it's already put my channel at risk for being stricken and being punished, and I'm going to be punished over my own stuff, which is ironic. But I'm glad that the quality, the image quality, the sound quality came out a lot better. And I appreciate everyone coming through. And I'm ready to hit these YouTube streets with all my aliases and costumes and see what everybody else is doing. So thanks for your support. I appreciate the purchases, the support, because it reflects on the record. It's all about records, documents, and history. And y'all have a good time till next time. I promise you another show just as interesting. And I appreciate everyone coming through.